there's one thing that I've learned is that boring and consistent wins the race. And that's something that I've learned kicking and screaming because I've pretty much done everything but be consistent my whole life. And I thought that's where it was. Trying this, trying that, looking for get quick, rich schemes and really just trying all these different things rather than knuckling down and picking a thing. And I've always convinced myself that, that was the best way to do things. It certainly was the most interesting for me. And I guess that's just the way my brain is wired to want to try different things. And as soon as something gets boring, see you later. But what I've increasingly found in the past, I'll say past 3 years, is that boring is pretty awesome. And I don't think that has anything to do with my being 50, although maybe a little bit. But I just wasn't, I don't see how this is not true being 20 as it is now. The only problem was that when I was 20, I just didn't have the ears to listen for it or the eyes to see it. I'll give you an example. I used to stay up as late as possible. I was a big night owl. And staying up as late as possible was great because you get that nice quiet hour. Everyone's asleep. There's no distractions. And you can focus on whatever you want, right? Okay. Maybe read a book. Okay. Watch a movie. Sure. But it's usually exploring something new, going down, some YouTube rabbit hole or, seeing how many jumps you can make on Wikipedia from something cool that you've never even heard of. All sorts of stuff, right? But that was me really just trying to recapture the day that I'd spent, chasing rabbits and not focusing on anything consistently. And so what's happening now is I'm struggling to stay awake past 9:30 nowadays. And the reason is I'm getting up like at 5:30, 5 o'clock. Okay, the World Cup has a little bit to do with it, but not really. It's just that I wake up at 5, I wake up at that time and I'm not tired. It's time for me to wake up. And so that's how I've been kicking off my days. I get to, during this time when I don't have a steady contract, the day is my oyster, right? And I get to really plod along at my leisure now. I do take my day seriously, doing things for this channel and, other projects that I've got going as well, that I've been sticking to consistently, are my priority at the moment. And so when the minutes pass or the hours pass, I feel it. And it gives me a bit of a fire under my bum to get a move on. And certainly by the time, if I'm still home by 8 o'clock in the morning, it's time to get out of here. So that's where the routine for me kind of falls into play. Is it's not about being boring. It's about not taxing your mind on unnecessary distractions. That doesn't mean, for me, staying in a rut. Although, on some level, it is. But the rut is more like, if you've ever seen the movie called The Fly with Jeff Goldblum, it came out like 30 years ago or something. But there's a scene that always stuck with me where he's at his apartment with a leading lady, and he's got to change, right? He's looking for he needs to change of clothes. And he opens his closet, and all his clothes are the same. They're all, I think, black t-shirts, right? And his girlfriend is astonished, right? Like, why would you do that? He says, well, it's one less thing to think about. That's how it is for me, and maybe for you as well. You've probably built up a lot of, one less thing to think about type things in your life. So, for instance, I've got my coffee that I go get in the morning. I've got my library that I hit right after, and a host of other things, right? Including my workout, which I go to once. So I do once a day, plus my sauna religiously, and then I take an off day, right? But all these little things compound, and I feel them compounding. Starting with my sleep schedule, it's starts off normal, but I can feel that I'm resting a lot better. I can feel the quality of my sleep going a lot better. I used to wear a Whoop. I don't anymore because I was starting to become a slave to the numbers, and really judging my day not by how I was feeling, but by the numbers instead. So it's kind of a catch-22, but it was still very informative because I got to understand what my baseline numbers were in terms of what my standing heart rate was, my sleep quality scores, all these things, right? And I could see how the consistency was actually improving a lot of those numbers. And so I kept with it. I only quit it, as I said, because that's the first thing I check in the morning. I wasn't counting my blessings. I wasn't, doing all the little things that you do, that you're meant to do, to improve your life or to be conscious of what you're doing. I was just stuck on another network. And I really credit that gizmo for helping me to solidify the boring routines that I have at the moment. Because yes, I was, as a result of using it, I started doing cardio, which I hate doing, but I know I have to. Why? Well, because it advised me, you can't just do strength training all the time. You've actually got to, put some effort and exercise your heart on the cardiovascular side. So that's what I started doing. I started doing Stairmaster and focusing on my VO2 max for you fitness freaks out there. And so that changed me from not paying attention to it, but now creating a new routine, which I carry to this day, even though I've stopped using Whoop. So, this is one of the lovely things I love about, that's an orange. It's not ready yet. Oh well. I'm used to growing up. Yeah, that's orange. So, as a kid, my mother used to make me orange tea, which you just give them a little wash and boil them, and it is, and a little teaspoon of sugar. It's magic. It's a really, really nice tea. In fact, I might pinch a couple of leaves later and do the same thing. Anyhow, the routines are second nature now. I don't think about them, which is exactly how I like it. I don't want to have to think or have to wonder, should I go to the gym? Should I do some work? No, it's automatic now. It's boring. And that's how I like it. Because now I can do other things. I had family over a couple of weeks ago, and they taught me all these new things about cooking that of course, I had wrong. So I got the real deal cooking methods and preparation from them. And that's what I've been doing. I've been working on my salsas. I've been working on my beans, my frijoles. I'm really having a pretty good time with it. And I must say, and my wife agrees, the beans that I just recently made, she thought my mom had made them. I made them. And I'm very, very proud of that. Because, yeah, they came out great. But I didn't have to worry. Before, it would have been too much for me to try something new because, I have to go to the gym and, I have to complete these things that I have to complete. Now, when I wake up in the morning and after I count my blessings, I tell myself, what are the two things or the one thing that has to be completed today? And that's my focus. That's what I have to do. And you wouldn't believe how much easier that makes the day go. When you realize yes, everyone's got a million things on their to-do list. But when you focus on one, that clears the anxiousness of the day and how you approach the day. Because if I finish that one thing, whether it takes me the full day or maybe just an hour, I'm winning. Because once that big thing is out of the way, I can do whatever I want, right? I can go down to the next priority thing that needs to get done. So I'd like you to consider, how have you grown in terms of what are the boring things that used to be so monumental to you that are now second nature? That maybe 20 years ago, if you would have told yourself this is what is going to be second nature to you, your 20-year-old self would say, man, you're boring and old. But we know better.